Hey guys, everybody. My name's Samson. Back here with another awesome testimony from actually a wife and husband couple, Brother Joe and Miss Katie. And we just want to give glory and let them tell you about what the Lord's done for them. And Brother Joe, can I ask you, what was life like before you got saved?
Well, as you will hear in this testimony I've written, it was chaotic in a lot of bad ways. I was not doing things the right way. My life had become unmanageable. That led to 3 years of rehabilitation down in Durham. And, it got to a point where, I had to say, enough's enough and I can't manage my own life anymore. So I had to go somewhere to actually get, a handle on my life being managed again. But that will be in his testimony. So
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and start with this. I was dealing drugs, partaking in gang activity, running the roads, tearing families apart. It was okay as long as the money was good. I can still go to heaven. I can still go to heaven being a gangster because I'm saved. At least that is what I thought. My family took me to church. They were highly respected in the small business of Marion, North Carolina. I heard the Bible. I went to that altar in that little Baptist church, and the preacher and I prayed that prayer. I repeated after him with my head knelt down, so I'm saved. That was a joke on me. I wasn't aware that there is a little more to salvation than that. For a long time, I kept in the evil I was doing. There are things that I would never do again. Things I think of, and it shakes me to my core. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try this without crying.
You do it, man. You awesome.
Not realizing at any point I had things went sideways, and I had ended up dying. I would have opened my eyes at hell. Believe me, there were many times and many situations that very well could have caused my last breath. Also, add in the constant worry from family members wondering if I was alive or dead, with no way of finding out. Countless tears from their fear of possibly having to identify my body on a slab in the morgue, either from an overdose or multiple stab or gunshot wounds. I ended up in jail, which any of us that would have lived that lifestyle know it only ends 3 ways. If you stay in it, jails, institutions, or death. So here I am in jail, my birthday right around the corner, trying to guilt my family into bonding me out for my birthday. In all reality, I wanted to bond it out so I could get high again. They didn't bond me out. I landed myself in a 3-year rehab facility in Durham, North Carolina. It's called TROSA. For those who truly want to get clean, I recommend this program highly. Without TROSA, without God's mercy and grace and TROSA, I would have not been alive to be telling this story right now. Praise God, I'm still here to be able to testify and witness. I spent 3 years in the program, graduated the program, and then stayed another year to help others that were entering the program. After all, what good is it making it to the top if we don't reach our hand back and don't reach our hand back down to help next climb their way up? I met up with my woman that I had actually met when I was dealing. We dated which is Katie. We dated for a little while and then decided to get married. She had 2 children from prior relationships. The father was completely absent. We married on October 21st, 2022. I was scared I wouldn't be a good husband or dad. I pulled away from them instead of opening up. We fell and relapsed together. We lost visitation with our kids. She was poisoned and died once and poisoned 3 more times, but did not die. We fought, we argued, we broke things, cut each other down. We split up and lived in 2 different places. We tried dating, it was still terrible. And then on one of our dates in a motel room, drugs were found, magnetized to the bed in a black case. She begged me not to do them. She went to the bathroom, and even though I had promised her I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't do those drugs, when she rounded the corner, I was blue from head to toe, drooling from the mouth. Thank God she had a medical background. She immediately started chest compressions and dialed 911 on speakerphone. In between listening to dispatch and doing chest compressions, she flushed all the drugs and paraphernalia. 6.5 minutes were she done CPR and mouth to mouth. I was in the hospital for 4 days after I died. They gave me all the Narcan they possibly could, and then told her that they had done all they could do to start praying to whoever she believed in. She never left my side. 4 days later, I came back home. She moved back home with me, and we stopped using drugs. We finally got to see the kids again and visit Jerry Dobbins Baptist Church. Immediately, life started changing for me. Some time went by, visiting the church, visiting the kids, and going to church. It's hard to read.
You're good, man. You're all right. You're all right.
Our daughter got saved. Then our son got saved. My wife received her salvation during the last part of the drug path, and we were on, and I'll let her tell you about that. We received salvation, thank God, and we had a meeting with Pastor Ron in that office right there, and realized it was just recently I received salvation, and thought wrong all this time that I had thought wrong all this time. Had God not allowed me to be brought back to life that night, I would be in hell right now. We were baptized as a family and joined Jerry Dobbins Baptist Church. Katie and I both have meaningful, good jobs, which is at Baxter Healthcare. We see our children and go do things as a family whenever we want, and schedule when the schedule allows, of course. We have friends, godly friends, like Trent and Samson here. Our home life is peaceful and full of God and love and happiness. We are setting good examples to our children. We attend church every time work allows, even when church is an hour away. Believe me, it's worth the trip. We are so blessed and so thankful for all of our friends, Samson and his family included. And pray for God to bless his YouTube ministry. We are thankful and blessed for our family, and we are thankful and blessed for our church, Jerry Dobbins Baptist Church. We are thankful and blessed for our Pastor Ron. We are thankful and blessed for our salvation and to be a child of God. Thank you, Samson, for having us and allowing us to share our story through your ministry. We pray God blesses you and your family. God bless everyone, and thank you. Have a blessed day, y'all.
I appreciate that very much. Can I ask you, what is life like now since you've got saved? What is the peace and the presence, or what is the thing that makes you feel most full?
God and my family.
It's just, you got an awesome testimony. God's done a lot and amazing stuff for you, and I'm so glad you come to church with us. And I love you, and I love you and your family. Y'all are absolutely amazing, and I just love hearing what the Lord's done for you. And Miss Katie, I sure would like to hear what the Lord's...
read this in church. I don't know what Pastor Ron thinks someone will do.
You be all right.
Miss Katie,
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you, what was life like before you got saved?
It wasn't great. I was shooting up fentanyl. I was doing meth. I was doing pills. At one point, even having sex for money. I mean,
Yes, sir. Come on, you.
I lived off of drugs. That's how I met my husband. He was a dealer.
Yeah.
So, that's what I knew for the longest time. And I had kids. And for a while, I was okay. And then I went back to that life. And I'm so thankful that my grandparents took custody.
Yeah.
And I didn't fight that because I knew I wasn't good for them at that point in time. They didn't need to be around me. So it was really bad. Like he said, I ended up being hurt quite a bit. I was poisoned and died. Poisoned 3 more times and didn't die. Nearly killed in a car wreck. Jumped out of a moving vehicle. Drugs do really bad things to somebody's mind.
Yeah.
And, we were fighting one day. And I took off walking. And he said, I'm not coming back to get you. And I knew he was telling the truth. I knew he wouldn't come back. And I walked and I walked and I walked. And I walked this path. I know 500 times. I knew my way around. And I just kept getting turned around. And I ended up back at the same place I started. And it was so hot. And I was so thirsty. And there was a little white church. And I remember because I used to sing at this church whenever I was young, even though my grandparents didn't go at that time. I went with my neighbor. And she was the same age as I was, well, a year younger. We sang in this church. And I knew they wouldn't deny me of water.
Mm.
And I went in, and I stood in the back of that church, and I listened to the end of the sermon, and I listened to the invitation. I followed it. I felt it in me. I knew I had to go.
Mm.
I didn't want to go. I just kept standing there and standing and I finally went. Whenever I got up off that altar, I didn't need water.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I didn't need any water. I wasn't thirsty anymore.
That's wonderful.
From that point on, I kept asking him, quit drugs, please, let's quit drugs. No, he didn't want to quit. And it got to a point where I left because I didn't really want to be around him. I didn't want to be around him anymore. And it hurt because I loved him.
Yeah.
But something in me was stronger than that. So I started living in Lincolnton for a while. And we started dating, and it was still bad. And he did find those drugs, and he died on me. And I did chest compression. And God wouldn't let me let him die.
Mm.
So even though I was mad at him, I thought to myself, well, you knew not to do this. I begged you not to do this. I shouldn't even really have to be saving you right now. But I can't do that. Because God didn't do that to us.
That's right.
So I done those chest compressions.
That's awesome.
And I kept doing them, no matter how tired I was. I just kept doing them. I done mouthed out. Ended up with pneumonia from it.
Mm.
But I did mouth them out. And I just kept doing it until the cop pushed me off of him. Said, you did good, we had it.
Mm.
And I didn't know if he would make it. But he did. From that point on, something changed in him.
It's amazing.
We got the kids back in our lives. I have a great job. He has a great job. Saving people's lives. One bag at a time. We make IV bags, 60% of the world's.
Wow. It's awesome.
And it's very gratifying. We're blessed that God allowed us to go into that profession. Because He didn't have to do that for us as much as we've done.
That's amazing. I love hearing. I love to hear it. I ain't really got to hear your testimony as much, I sit way back here in the back because I got to whoop my kids. I'm that back row Baptist. But, you know, I heard you tell about how you didn't need the water anymore. And I sit there and I was like, I'd really like to hear more about the testimony. And this is such a blessing to hear. It's amazing that I could tell from the tears and from the crackiness in your voice that you've lived this life, and that it's been rough.
We live
But,
a life of drugs, gangs, prostitution rings. I mean, you name it. We've been in it. Seen people die. You know, seeing people hurt other people and not do anything about it. I mean, we've seen jail. I've seen 6 county jails and 2 prisons myself. So we've seen it. We lived that.
So definitely, Jesus has definitely made a difference in y'all's life.
Absolutely.
And all the thing I can tell you is I'm so glad to have y'all here at church. I love y'all so much.
We love you and your family as well.
And hoping that, you know, we could push this out to somebody to tell you, somebody else on the other side of the screen that, you know, you don't got to stay in that life. Absolutely. That Jesus can absolutely save you and get you from that. That He will make the difference in life.
And the only other thing I can say is, even if you feel like your family's turned their back on you, your friends turn their back on you, there's nowhere for you to go. You have nowhere to live. You have no food to eat. God will make one.
Yes, He will. That's
He'll
awesome.
make that one. Because He did for me, and He did for Joe, and He did for our family, and He can do it for anyone.
And if it don't bother you, can I show you with all your kids together? That way, kind of, you know, like that would be all right, or is that y'all can just stand together? And so we showed that the Lord brought y'all back together, and so it's a beautiful picture. It's a beautiful thing. That is amazing, and I'm so glad to have y'all here, and I'm so glad to hear what the Lord's done for you. And until next time, we'll have another testimony for you, and y'all have a great day.